Hello students, today we are going to start a new chapter, that is absorption by roots, and today's topics are need of water and minerals. Second thing is characteristic of root for absorbing water. After that we'll discuss about this diagram. So let's start with the first topic, that is need of water and minerals. Need of water and minerals. In plants, various physiological processes are dependent on water. First physiological process is photosynthesis. I hope all of you are knowing the definition of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process by which green plants prepare their own food by utilizing carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to prepare glucose as a main product and oxygen as a byproduct. Sunlight is necessary for the process to take place, and chlorophyll is the catalyst for this process. So in this, as I have said, that by utilizing carbon dioxide and water, so carbon dioxide and water are the raw material for the process or for the preparation of food. So raw material is CO2 and water. So it's very important component for this physiological process. Next physiological process is transpiration. Transpiration is the evaporation of water from the exposed surfaces of plant, exposed green surfaces, especially green surface like the surface of leaves, surface of green stems, as they contain stomata on the surfaces. From this stomata, water gets evaporated to the surrounding. Evaporation of water is necessary to cool down the surface of the plant. Next is to create a suction pressure in the plant for transportation of water from roots to shoot. I can show you these two by showing these two plants to you. Number one, this one, as you can see, this plant, this is the root of the plant and the leaves of the plant. From this, all the green leaves and the stem is even green in this plant. So the evaporation process continues from the green part of the stem also. In this plant, you can see the leaves are wilted. Wilting of the leaves is just because of the result. I have uprooted this plant about half an hour before this video. So the plant leaves, the evaporation process, since the weather is very hot today, so the evaporation process is continuing and the plant is not getting water from the roots. So water is unavailable, which results in wilting of the leaves of this plant. Another plant is this grass plant. You can see this plant is stiff till now. Just now I have uprooted this. So in this, there is mechanical stiffness to the plant stem, and the leaves are also in the turgid or fully filled condition. You can say this the turgidity of the leaves and stem is just because of water which is transported from the root to the shoot. So transpiration is the process from in the evaporation of water from the surfaces of the leaves, and if the stem part is also green, then the green part of the stem also, because they contain stomata on the surface. So the transpiration is another process, another physiological process in which water is the main component or water is required. Water is required for this process. Why water is required? Number one, to give cooling effect to the plant. Cooling effect to the plant, and next is to create suction pressure for the transportation of water from root to the shoot. Next process is transportation. Transportation of the substances like mineral salts which are in the dissolved state, mineral salts such as sulfates, phosphates, nitrates, and some of the elements like magnesium, calcium, potassium and chlorine. These are also required by the plant for as a constituent of the cell or the cell organelle, or these components are required, these elements and the components are required for the synthesis of various substances in the plant. So they are the major constituent of some of the chemical substances, as well as they are the constituents of the cell or cell organelles. Next is mechanical stiffness. As I have shown you this plant, the grass plant, that it is still stiff. So that stiffness is just because of transportation of water from root to shoot. That transportation of water from root to shoot results in creating a turgidity in the cell. Turgidity we'll discuss in the latter part of this chapter. So turgidity provides or creates stiffness. Stiffness is necessary for a plant to stand erect in the surrounding, and that since the stem is very thin and flexible, if there is no turgidity, then it's not possible for a plant to stand erect on the surface of the soil. Next is, this is all about the need of water and mineral. First is the photosynthesis. I'll repeat all these four. Photosynthesis, which is in which water is the raw material. Transpiration, water is the main component which gives cooling effect, as well as suction pressure is created. Transportation of mineral salts. Mineral salts are transported always in dissolved state, and some of the elements are also transported. One more thing I forgot to write here, that is transportation of food. Food which is prepared in the leaves are transported with the help of water to the other parts of the plant. So transportation of food is also by water. What is the medium for that transportation process? Mechanical stiffness, movement of water from root to shoot creates turgidity, provides stiffness for the plants to stand erect on the surface of the soil. Next is characteristic of root for absorbing water. Characteristic of roots for absorbing water. Number one is, the first characteristic is enormous size or surface area. In a root, this is the main part of the root, or from this root adventitious or the secondary roots arise. Secondary root, and from here the root hairs arise. All these secondary root and root hairs are root hair. The role of secondary root and root hairs is to increase the surface area of absorption. With the help of this plant, I'll show you. As you can see, it's clear. I think it's visible to you all. This is the main root and from this the secondary roots arise. Secondary roots are this one, and minute root hairs are present in this plant. So this minute root hairs or the secondary roots are responsible to increase the surface area for absorption. Increase role of root hairs is increases the surface area of absorption. Number 2 is cell concentration or concentration of the cell sap. Cell sap contains dissolved salts, and this dissolved salts gives a higher concentration. And if we are discussing about a single root, suppose this is the surrounding area, then the concentration of the cell sap, concentration of the dissolved salts in the cell sap of dissolved substances in the cell sap is more than the surrounding area. So there is, when the concentration of substances or the solute is more, then there is movement of water molecules from higher concentration to higher concentration of water. The process is osmosis. Osmosis is also the main topic to be discovered today, discussed today. So this today we'll discuss about osmosis or diffusion. In the diffusion and this process, water moves from the surrounding area to the root. This movement of water from surrounding area to root is just because of higher concentration of salt inside the root as compared to the surrounding area. Then next is cell wall or cell is thin. Cell membrane is thin and permeable. Thin and permeable. Permeable is that semi-permeable, not fully permeable. Semi-permeability is that the root hairs allow only water and certain minute dissolved substances to enter into the cell. So that allowing only water and certain substances to enter is the semi-permeability. Then the surface is very thin, so that so it also allows the movement or easy movement of water from surrounding to the root hairs. The characteristic of root, first is to increase the surface area for absorption. Next is to create a concentration gradient for the transportation of water from surrounding to the cell sap. Next is cell membrane. The cell membrane is thin and semi-permeable to allow movement of water from the surrounding to the root or root hair. So all these characteristics are very important for the absorption of water by the root to be utilized by the plant. Next is this diagram. In this diagram, we will just label the diagram. First is this one, the outer wall is the cell wall. Next to the wall is the cell membrane. And this empty space, wherever you are seeing, you can observe the empty space. This empty space is the vacuole, and the dotted appearance is for the cytoplasm. Then this one, a bold dot-like structure, that is the nucleus. Here also a nucleus is present. Nucleus of the cell. These areas where nucleus is present, these two areas are the growing root hairs. So these are the stages. This diagram is about the single full grown root hair. This is the full grown root hair. Full grown root hair. And these two are the structures which are in the successive stage or developing stage. So this diagram is very important for examination point of view. This diagram for the labeling process purpose, or even sometimes it is asked what is the function of, they'll write like this, they'll give you the questions like, suppose this, they label this one A, then second this one as B, or this as C. So then the question would be like label the parts A, B, C and explain the role of these parts for the cell or for the plant. So you have to, whenever you are labeling the parts, you have to write about their, you must know about the function of these parts in the plant or for the cell. So this is the chapter. This is the topic we have covered. In the next topic, we'll discuss about the processes which takes place for the water movement of water and minerals, that is osmosis, diffusion, then active transport. So all these things we'll discuss in the next class. Thank you for today.